Okay. Oh, wow, yeah. No. Oh, he did. Yeah.
Stacy, you're not making anything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw your bag.
It's the same one. Okay, it is 4:30, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order. I'm gonna start by taking the roll call from my right, or left, please. Sorry, this way, follow my fingers.
Which left? BT's ever had.
Elida Snow.
Ron Goodman.
Kristan Martin.
Katie Benjamin.
Okay, so did everybody get a chance to read through the meeting minutes that were sent to us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any changes or corrections or? No? Okay, I will see the motion then, please.
I move we approve the minutes as presented. Good job. As presented. Second.
I have a motion by Ellen, a second by BG to approve the previous meeting minutes of August 5th, the board agenda meeting, August 12th, the regular board meeting, and August 19th, the final budget hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, at this time, I invite anybody with any comments on any non-agenda items to address the board now. Okay, moving on then. Board reports. So buildings and grounds. Sam is not here, but did anything happen?
Anything new?
Anything new happen?
No, we're continuing to fight with the sump pump at the high school. That's the big issue. You might say it's kind of a poopy situation. Was that recorded? Oh boy.
Yes, it is.
No, and then we have some other, we're still finishing up some of the projects from the summer. We have heaters coming in to this building, imagine that. And also,
This
it's just to make the meetings more expedient. But, and then, so, heater in the wood shop's coming on next week. Yeah, so, those kids will be starting little wood fires in the wood shop. So, yeah, just finishing that stuff up in the buildings and grounds, so.
Okay, Ms. BG, anything on policy?
Not right now.
Okay, Katie, anything on technology?
No, nothing right now.
Do we have a meeting coming up for technology?
We need to have one.
Okay,
So-
I thought I saw one. Oh, but it's scheduled for this weekend with homecoming, that didn't work, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I will schedule one. We have the safety and wellness meetings. We just have a whole bunch of stuff to do with that. Safety plans and go finish the doors and we have a bunch of stuff to do. So,
So we'll be scheduling a wellness and safety and a technology meeting? Is that what you mean?
yes, the technology meeting is coming up. It's already scheduled.
When is that for?
Thursday,
This Thursday, okay.
that's still on.
Yeah.
That's what yeah, okay, I was a little confused there. Okay, so wellness and safety, we'll have reports after those meetings. Calendar, I know I start by asking you this, but when do we start meeting for those?
Later, is that a good enough answer?
Enough for me. Perfect. I know there's a timeline typically, right? What is the timeline?
I'll find out.
Okay.
There's a timeline when we need to approve it.
Yeah,
So you also have to look at starting that.
That's can always be changed.
it just sounds terrible. Start of the calendar again.
Yes.
Okay, so anything on transportation, Kristan?
Nothing.
Anything on insurance, Miss BG?
Not that I've heard of.
The Musk representative was in today and they would like to use our building to schedule a regional meeting for the new trust that's gonna be formed. To kind of give people, so that would be kind of like an insurance committee meeting.
What kind of a region are they talking about?
Troy, possibly Eureka, just inviting
So that-
maybe the local area schools.
I'm just trying to figure what kind of a regional.
And it just kind of introduces us to the
The,
formation of
short
the
interview.
fund.
Do we know who that will be yet?
No.
Okay. But I'll keep you posted. Well, thank you.
There's lots of meetings coming up, sounds like. Okay, so then moving on to resignation, retirement, reduction of force, and non-renewal. We have Miss Alyssa Mullen as an LES paraprofessional.
I move that we accept the resignation of Alyssa Mullen as a paraprofessional.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the resignation of Alyssa Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. So no consideration of staff contracts or transfers, so we will move on to consideration of charter school.
Okay, so what I would like to have is a vote on this. I've spoken to all of you, but I just think it's important to go ahead and give us the full green light to move forward. And then the other thing is your input on it. And since we're on that topic, I want to give these other ones, see if this works for people. It has to be in and approved by the board, our board, by November 1 at 5 o'clock. So we're thinking that October 28th is going to need to be a special agenda meeting or a special board meeting to move forward and say we're okay with this. So
Do you have another charter school?
I got some.
It's okay if you don't.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there are three key ingredients for this charter school coming up. One is the proficiency based, which allows students that are behind in credit proficiency to graduate. And that's been taking place since before Mr. Germany.
Yeah.
And so that's, at one point they had 50 kids upstairs in the alternative school when I got here. So the proficiency based is one key ingredient. The other key ingredient that's taking place is the ability to deal with students that are unwilling to come to school given mental health issues. Anxiety, depression are the two big ones that we're dealing with. And again, that has not changed over the years. And then, of course, the third issue that's taking place is charter schools in Montana. So there is a definite need to put another 10, 15 kids upstairs. We have 30 kids now. If we add another 10, that puts us at 40. 40 is the number. It's the minimum number for a charter school. And so for us to pick up 10 kids, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. My desire is that we don't pick up more kids from the high school. I think there's enough kids who have already dropped out of school, and this would give them a chance to come back and increase the likelihood of them paying Social Security taxes for me and everybody else in this room. So that would be my hope. And so we're in the midst of walking through this, and I would kind of like to get some feedback from you guys in addition to just voting on it. One of the things that I think is important, again, is these 10, 15 kids that I know that are floating around out there, and they're 16, 17 years old and need to graduate from high school, and they need to do something other than sit at home and do something that's not beneficial to them or anybody else. So that's my desire, is pick some of those students up. We've been able to gather some pretty good resources. With one of the big goals we have is A, graduate, B, get a job. And so we're working with the Jobs for Montana Graduates. JMG used to be a project that was used upstairs. And so we would like to A, credit proficiency, B, get a job and put them on a career pathway. So we're working with JMG, and then we're also working with the CHC on designing things to help kids build more resiliency in their lives. BG was in on the meeting as well. BG, did you want to share anything?
It was just wonderful. We were sitting in a meeting and for someone to speak up and say there's money for that.
Yeah.
That was from the CHC, and it was refreshing to hear that there were these possibilities. I think it's going to be a great addition to our school system.
So there is financial benefits for this as well. And as we've kind of looked at it and guessed about it, if we break the 40 barrier, that is what you have to have in order to have a charter school is 40 kids in a high school. There's different numbers for elementary school, different numbers for middle school. But for us, it's 40 students. And right now we have 30. So to pick up another 10, I think is completely possible.
So it's
Yeah.
just high school age?
Yes, yeah. Now, there could end up being some students up there for like safety issues or something like that. And I think right now we have some special education situations taken upstairs, but they would not count for that EMD, if that makes any sense.
No.
Is that just hiring one more teacher and one more para? Like, what does the staff part of that look like?
That's great. So, super question. So if you want to start flipping through this, number one, I'm just going to go in a little bit more detail. So I'm a big fan of the Search Institute. They're out of Minnesota for years. Many of you guys have been in education for a while. Remember the 40 assets. And so the folks that came up with 40 assets also came up with what they call developmental relationships. So the first step, and I can just tell you, this is not a school thing. This is a human thing. Number one is expressing care, building relationship with the kid, make them trust you. And then you challenge them, and then you provide support for the challenge that's going to be in front of them as far as like coming to school more often, doing a better job, and then share power and you expand the possibilities of the kid. So that's one portion of it. There's three things: credit recapturing, self-regulation and management, and then getting a job. That's the deal. We do not want these people running around not having jobs and having to pay for them. I want them paying for me in my old age. And so on page, this page we have this whole issue of what the budget looks like and what we're going to need. The truth of the matter is, almost every situation we'll have to hire one more teacher, one more para, which really is not going to cost as much money as even what we collect on A and B. So it would be a good deal for the school financially. And on top of that, I think it really meets a need that is really, really building, and not just in Libby, but in other places as well. So
How many other schools are taking advantage of this, and what kind of charter schools are they?
yeah, good question. So actually, I left it on my desk, but there's a whole list of the charter schools. I would say about half of them, well, I think there's 4 or 5 Class A schools, but everything else is a AA school. So again, if you're going to try and grab 40 kids, it's going to be very difficult for a Class C school to grab 40 kids out of their total 60 and make a school. So Class AA schools have made a business of this. They'll have 3 to 4 different, they have a ton of different charter schools that are niches and grabbing 40 kids here, grabbing 40 kids there. And again, the big issue is when you start that new school, it's not just those 40 kids that you get the A and B for. It's like $7,000 per kid. I wish the university systems could educate our children for $7,000 a year and drive them to school. But at the same time, but that whole issue of what I'm seeing is the AA schools have made it very specialized for different things. The A schools, there are a few of those, and a lot of those are proficiency based, exactly like what we're doing. Same thing. How do you deal with kids who are credit deficient? How do you deal with kids who are not willing to come to regular school? So that is what's taking place in Class A schools. I think there might even be a Class B school that has a charter school.
In our area, like.
List on my desk.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't anticipate that question. So it is increasing. Well, let's say, like I talked to a guy that's doing the same thing, and he's a Class B school. So I just know he's been calling me and asking me questions and asking him questions as well. So there's at least one Class B school that's going to be doing this same type of situation.
What's our current number of students in the high school?
340. So I agree with him. We probably lost 15 to 22 homeschool. And it's basically, they don't want to be in the building. The current model of the all school is for upperclassmen. So we've got 9th and 10th graders that the anxiety and that post-COVID stuff that just haven't got back in the swing. I could easily see grabbing at least 8 or 9 from those that want to just come someplace else. Because if I deny them and say you're not old enough and there's not enough room, then they just quit and go to homeschool.
Yeah, and those are the kids, again, I think that is,
I think we'll get a handful of those.
that's a serious
And
loss.
we do have truly some 9th and 10th graders that need a different setting, but we just can't fit them in.
What happens if you drop below 40?
We would never do that. I mean,
What happens?
I don't know what they would do to you. I imagine you'd have actually, that's not true. I do know. So a lot of the schools that are doing this and looking through the application, you can do like a phase in, like, hey, we're going to try and have, 30 kids this year and in the next 2 to 3 years. So you may lose your charter, but I don't think that would
I
happen.
think they do a 2-year average like they do for reclassifications.
Yeah.
But honestly, if we can't draw from the community, we can draw from our school and just relieve our intervention systems that we're packed with right now.
Don't we have a waiting list now?
Yeah.
Didn't you say?
Easily. We got another 15,
That's what I
20.
thought.
I've got, right now, we're full at this point, and I have 2 notes on my desk that I just don't want to call back people because we don't have space. What am I going to do? I don't want to have 30 some kids upstairs and have to hire another teacher. We're out of space. So if you've been homeschooled, you're going to have to continue homeschooling. So.
Do all of the students have to be under 18? Or
They could be
can
seniors.
we take students over 18?
Yeah, how old can you take a high school kid? 20?
19 for A and B.
Okay,
19?
and by birth date, whatever the date is on that.
On a rare occasion, if a kid just needs a class or 2 through the alt school, we've gone to 20. But that's very, very rare, and it's only for maybe a quarter, not for a year.
So what does the process look like? We put an application by the 1st.
Mhm. At 5 o'clock, November 1, 5 o'clock.
So then, like, is it kind of we have to wait till a certain date to be approved or denied, or?
That'd be starting next year.
Right, for next
Oh,
year, but
yeah.
I'm just saying, so that we know how to move forward and what to look for, like, when will we know yes or no? I'm assuming if you have to do an application, it's not just automatically approved,
Yeah,
right?
I think we find out like in December,
Okay.
and I think we might have to go to Great Falls and go to the basement of the deaf and blind school and sit there and go through post-traumatic trauma syndrome. And I don't know if you need to be there. I would assume you might want to be there to answer any questions that they might have. But looking at, all the applications are there. We were looking at them. And some of them are really robust and some of them are not that robust. And it seems like a lot of them are getting approved. Now that may change. Again, if we don't get approved, when we continue on as life is normal. If we get approved, then we pick up an extra 10 kids, hopefully, in the process and inject another $200,000 and some into our general budget.
So I guess my question would be, if we do for some reason get denied, not that I expect that, but could we not just create another classroom upstairs and just
Yeah.
do the program anyway, just not as a charter school?
Sure. So like right now, there are 30 students upstairs. There's $7,000 per student. And Leslie, yell at me if I start getting off charter in this. But if you have 30 students and $7,000 per student, when we get A and B countless today, that's $210,000 it generates upstairs. That more than pays for the salaries that we have upstairs. Yep. It's between putting the kitchen in this building and doing all that stuff, this has been a good financial move for us to have what we have upstairs. And it's not at all about the money. I mean, don't kid me. I appreciate the money because it makes it easier to do things. But it is all about these kids not sitting at home and becoming and not being productive members of society. This is the important thing. I always kid people about my Social Security, but I do want to see these kids healthier and happier and being better moms and dads. That's the goal. So
So have you talked to these families? Are you confident that these kids will get off the couch and actually come to school instead? I mean, what's the,
I might have to drive my forklift over there. Well, I think what I've worked in, well, this will be the third different alternative school I've worked in. What I would say is the students that come, they come with a different culture. They dress differently, smell differently, act differently. They have different values, they have different customs. And that is the challenge, to bring them into a spot where they can be healthy and productive. You just can't continue to have things that make them unhealthy. And that's the big challenge. And it is, like I said, I think it's one of the great challenges as far as what do we do, who is lining up to make these changes. So oddly enough, my wife and I are both in this kind of this business, but I think that whole issue of trying to put them in a better spot, I think that happens. I think that happens upstairs. Yeah, so far, we're not very far into the school year, but we have 30 students upstairs, and I was a little bit nervous about it. And they're more rambunctious than the kids last year. These kids actually have energy, and they're right above my. You might have hear that as well. Actually, last year we just had people that sit there. This year, boy, they're movers, and they're a completely different crowd, but they're doing pretty well. They really are.
The one thing I think to the edge of your question is there's almost needs to be the rebranding of it. Notice you had school name under there. That was part of our meeting the other day of what is going to be different. Because the option of applying up there is open now. They don't know if they can get in or not, but they're choosing not to. But it's a staffing issue too. It's like, what is it going to offer differently with this charter that the alt school isn't offering? And I liked what he was saying about the job opportunities and the career opportunities, and even CHC teaming with us for the mental health therapy of it all. That's a whole aspect we've never touched on.
so CHC won't team with us for the general population high school, just the.
Yeah, that's what she said, we're getting money to have their grant. We're getting a second therapist on Wednesdays now. So Wednesdays and Thursdays, but then if this opens up, they can put another on over here. So it's still staffing, they gotta find them and all that stuff.
They're just seeing such a need that they want to do all they can to help us.
I think that's gonna draw a couple of them off the couch on their own when they see that it's not the same old credit scheme.
Well, that's what I was thinking, is word of mouth. I mean, it already sort of is word of mouth. We got people knocking to get on the door because they see their friends doing so well. But our hope is not to pull them from high school, have the friends talk to the friends outside, so.
I always want to have a certified answer on that. I see the kids doing better, but we all know that anytime you put 30 kids who are high needs, bad stuff can happen first, and that's just the gig on that. So
So you do have school name under here, but my only other thought would be, do we have to vote on it tonight since we're voting on it
I just
Here, or-
want the official green light to move forward.
to put in the application?
Yes.
Okay.
Not to put in the application, I just want the official blessing of the school board.
So what will this vote be?
This will be proving what we have. This is permission to move forward.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So do we need to pick a school name or?
Well, I was thinking of something with Goodman in it. No, just kidding. Yeah, I don't know what to do on that as far as picking a name. I guess more than anything, I think the process, if we can talk a little bit about what do we want to do for the school name, that would be an interesting process. I don't know I've never been part of naming a school.
Maybe the students want to have a
Yeah,
That'd be kind of
say in it.
if you think about it right now, it's an alternative school, but the kids up there pretty much call it Central School.
cool.
They like that it's their school. it's central
Separate.
village.
And that's, we want to make sure that it is their school.
And that's kind of the difference in, like in that spin, and that's the rebranding. So whether the new one taps into what you're trying to get to, you know, like career pathway school or some kind of something cool like that, it's like, oh, it's different. That's gonna be a godsend to find people in a different center.
But we all know that there's a shortage of workers out there right now. And a lot of these kids are tapping into this right now, and they're literally getting jobs in town. And there's a lot of these kids who actually work. I would like them to be in a position to get a job where they would have a career and some future to it as well.
So I like the idea of getting the kids involved. That's a cool idea. Maybe
Good idea.
doing something like that. So I guess at this point, we just need a motion to approve the moving forward of the charter school.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve moving forward with the charter school. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Hi.
Motion passes.
So if I get a list of names, or if there's, so if we get some feedback from the kids, as long as it's not something that's dumb or offensive or something like that, I think that'd be great. I'm with you though, Jim. I think that they're gonna say a central school, because that's what they call
But they might come up with a really new creative name too.
it. Something about, as Ruth would say, something with the word hope in it. Because that's really, that's the big issue in my mind too.
As long as the kids don't think that's cheesy. Like, I think that's cool for adults, but kids don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Okay, moving on then to consideration of Montana Job Corps and Montana School District's Memorandum of Understanding.
This is just the same thing that we've done before in previous years.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
correct. So if the kids go to Job Corps, we still get A and B for them.
I move that we approve the MOU with the Montana Job Corps and Montana. Well, we are the school district.
Second.
I have a motion by Ellen and a second by BG to approve the Montana Job Corps and Montana School District's Memorandum of Understanding. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, so let's review the agenda for Monday. Looks like our November meetings will be Monday, November 4th at 4:30 for the special board agenda meeting. Monday, November 11th at 6:30 for the regular board meeting. We will have some minutes. Other than that, it doesn't look like a ton.
Be careful.
I know.
Yeah, don't jinx us.
I know,
please.
sorry. I mean,
Don't
it's
say
gonna be a
that.
great meeting, that's what I mean.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions or additions to that?
So are we not gonna have student of the month? We got that on there? Yep,
Student recognition,
Got it.
yes.
Perfect.
Sorry, I was just going over all that.
What about, we have schools with, school leadership coming this year?
Mr. Germany, do we feel like we can get a student rep in here
Oh.
on Monday?
That's right.
Yeah. It's been a couple of years.
Trying to think who it is.
Is it Ryan?
He was
Or was
last.
he last year?
Yeah, he was,
I think so, was too busy.
all-
Yeah.
it's always during,
We never did see
it's
him.
always during
No.
some sports.
Where he might be.
Well, if you could potentially try to see if you could get us a rep, that'd be great, especially after homecoming week. That would be fun to hear about.
It would be fun to hear.
Mhm.
We squeeze them in.
There's a chair back there.
Yeah,
We would sit up
That's
there.
easy, or, yeah.
Rob's gonna be gone, so. Yeah. Okay. Then we will move forward with that. So it looks like I just need a motion to adjourn, so we
I
can.
so move.
Let's do our work session. I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.